Hello, everybody. It's MQMZ. I figured I would come to you real quick, very quick video on my reflections on my delving into the text Zep Tepi by the good brother Jakar Kilimanjaro, PhD. And I thought it was interesting that he put a text together like that to specifically verify and document how Kemet was the first, I want to make sure I said this correctly, the first socialized state-planned economy, which was authoritarian, was federally bureaucratic, a highly efficient system that was mirrored by the USSR, and Maoist, he says Maoist China. And he makes sure that he uses the word Maoist because after Mao, if I'm saying that correctly, after Mao introduced socialism to China, obviously they've changed it quite a bit. They've evolved quite a bit. They transformed quite a bit into what they are now. And as we know, the USSR just simply went out of existence because they couldn't maintain that system. Going back to the early 1700s or the early 1800s actually, into the late 18th century, where a lot of the feudalistic kingdoms, the global powers of the USSR, these are the ones with their viziers and their kings and things of that nature. Italy, Spain, France, the only ones that was unscathed at that time going into World War I and then into World War II was Great Britain. They managed to hold on to their monarchy. Other monarchies just went away because of the oppressive nature of their systems. Although you can say their global empires were, to a certain extent, states, but they weren't. They were just possessions. And they weren't, it wasn't equally distributed as you would say ancient Kemet was. So going into modern day society, with the advent of global commerce, the explosion of the human population, up to 4 or 5 billion, maybe going on to 6 billion now, globally. Things have changed. But when the United States decided to make their move away from feudalism and going into the Revolutionary War of 1776 into, I think it was 1780. Basically, I think all skirmish was over, probably 1781, somewhere in there. What we have is a direct correlation with state operated, federally oversight of state governments, which is pretty much similar to what Kemet had. There wasn't this distribution of goods. There wasn't a hierarchical, pretty much like a feudalistic hierarchical system. Wasn't anything like that. However, I guess the framework was that, but when you go back to what I was talking about in a very recent video I just did about Thomas Jefferson, what he was responsible for, and I would hope that people took that video and took it as an opportunity to do further research, because that's what I wanted you to do. Thomas Jefferson, when he went back to Virginia after the Revolutionary War, which he barely escaped because the English troops almost got him, almost captured him down in Virginia. So when he went back after being a governor of Virginia, he wrote a lot of the laws governing the land, especially in Virginia. So he started there at the House of Burgesses in Virginia, and then because of his work there, a lot of what they did there was transplanted and transferred to basically the federal level when they brought him up to Philadelphia to be the Secretary of State and all that kind of stuff. And then he has some personal issues. His life story continues to evolve and become the pariah that he became with European history. But I guess the difference is that what we have here, even though it was a mirror image of what Kemet was, what we do have is the major difference is that the laws, the foundational laws that govern this society, this so-called capitalistic society, even though it has mirrored ancient Kemet as a state federal distribution type of a system, the laws are different. They're geared towards the continued dominance of European white supremacy to stay on top of the system. That's what it's designed for. So I took the opportunity to discuss Zep Tepi to further amplify what I wanted to say about, even though they may copy us, knowing that that system was very successful for over 3,000 years, no other nation has even come close to that kind of success. They have have an underlayment of European legal tenements that keep them on top. And that's what I want to leave you guys with. Feel free to get the book, Zep Tepi. Just look up Takar Kilimanjaro, on his site. I might just put it on here on this video here, but you guys enjoy yourself, have a good day, and do further research. Don't respond to what you think you may know about certain topics, especially when when it's something that has been common knowledge that a lot of people do know. The reason why people such as myself put the information out there, because there is new information, and all you got to do is stop coming up with your observations that everybody knows about, and do some research, and then come back with some commentary on that, on what the revelations may be or may not be for you. All right, so that's what I'm gonna leave you guys with. Just don't rely on mundane thought processes. Be a scientist. Sit back, listen, be a scientist, observe, do your research, and then contribute to the conversation. All right, guys. Race first, African consciousness, Abibifahodie. Peace.